with Arsenal because I told you that for Eze, Arsenal spoke to his agents at the beginning of July, quite positive conversations, but then never made a bid to Crystal Palace, also because Nwaneri extending this contract. For Arsenal, guys, another big mission we don't have to underestimate is to extend the contract of William Saliba. Arsenal director Andrea Berta is really focused on that mission. It doesn't mean that Arsenal will not do anything else, because we will see what happens in the next few weeks, but it means that Arsenal focus is also on this Saliba story. Arsenal want to extend his contract. Arsenal are in contact with his agents. Arsenal believe that extending the contract of Saliba is really important. It's not just a contract extension. Sometimes in football we see the contract extensions as something normal. This is not a normal one. This is a very important one, and Arsenal want to go for it strong. So conversations ongoing. For Arsenal is a really important topic. They want to try to accelerate, and they know that Saliba is one of the big top names in the list of Florentino Perez at Real Madrid. Not from today, not from yesterday, but it's been like this for months. So Arsenal want to avoid any Real Madrid attack, not for this summer, but for 2026 or for the future. So Arsenal want to push a new contract for Saliba. Andrea Berta is on it.
Last minute bombshell. Rodrigo loan in the works. Arsenal fans, buckle up, because things are heating up again in the transfer market, and this time, it's all about Rodrigo from Real Madrid. According to fresh reports, Arsenal are pushing for a deal, but not a permanent one just yet. The Gunners would ideally like to bring the Brazilian in on loan this summer, just like they once did with Martin Odegaard back in 2021, and we all know how that story turned out. Now here's where it gets interesting. Arsenal aren't exactly short of attacking players. Andrea Berta has already added Victor Gyökeres and Noni Madueke, but Mikel Arteta still wants a proper left winger, and Rodrigo ticks every box. Of course, to make it happen, Arsenal need to clear some space. Trossard is expected to leave, and names like Rice Nelson, Fabio Vieira, and even Zinchenko are also available for transfer. But Arsenal fans, before you get too excited, there's a big obstacle. Manchester City are also in the race. Pep Guardiola sees Rodrigo as the perfect replacement for Savinho, who's pushing for a shock move to Spurs. Yes, Tottenham. And that's where it gets painful. If Savinho ends up at N17, it could hand City the green light to hijack Arsenal's pursuit of Rodrigo. Still, Arsenal have worked hard behind the scenes all summer, keeping close ties with Madrid. The relationship between the clubs is good, and that could give the Gunners the edge. So here's the question. Will Arsenal pull off another masterstroke like they did with Odegaard? Or will City swoop in and steal Rodrigo away? One thing's for sure, with the World Cup on the horizon, Rodrigo will want regular game time, and the Emirates could be the perfect stage. Arsenal news, Palace's Eberechi U-turn, Spurs deal in trouble. Arsenal fans, we all thought the story was over. Eberechi was on his way to Spurs, and Arsenal had missed the chance. But now, there's a twist. Reports suggest Crystal Palace are considering a shock U-turn that could throw Tottenham's deal into chaos and hand Arsenal fresh hope. Here's the situation. Easy's heart is set on Arsenal. He wants the move to the Emirates. But so far, Andrea Berta hasn't acted like Arsenal are ready to fight for him. Instead, the board have been holding back, waiting to sell players before committing to what would be their 7th signing of the summer. Meanwhile, Palace slapped a £68 million price tag on Eze, and Spurs were closing in. They even got the green light from the player, but the deal isn't as advanced as everyone thought. In fact, ahead of Palace's opener against Chelsea, the expectation was that Eze would be left out of the squad, a clear sign of an imminent transfer. But now, reports say he could actually start the match, as talks with Spurs have become difficult. That's a major blow for Tottenham, and maybe, just maybe, a window of opportunity for Arsenal. And here's the key question. Can Arsenal afford to step in without selling first? According to finance expert Kieran Maguire, the answer is simple. Easily. Arsenal have huge headroom. Fans are now begging the board. Go all in, hijack Spurs at the last second, and bring ease to the Emirates. So as the transfer window ticks down, all eyes will be on Stamford Bridge. If ease plays, Spurs' move could collapse, and Arsenal's dream might just come alive again. Arsenal accept £8.6 million deal for Zinchenko, Mourinho factor in play. Arsenal fans, it looks like one of the big summer exits is finally here. Reports from Turkey are claiming that Arsenal have accepted an £8.6 million bid from Fenerbahce for Oleksandr Zinchenko. And yes, Jose Mourinho could play a huge role in this transfer. Now, we all know Arsenal have been busy this summer. Victor Gyökeres is in, along with several new faces to strengthen Arteta's squad. But with all that fresh competition, some players were always going to fall down the pecking order, and Zinchenko is one of them. According to Sporks, Fenerbahce directors have already been in London, holding talks with Andrea Berta to get the deal done. An agreement has reportedly been reached, and Mourinho's presence at Fenerbahce is being seen as a major trump card to convince Zinchenko to make the move. For Arsenal, it almost feels inevitable. Signed from Manchester City back in 2022 with huge expectations, Zinchenko was supposed to help push the Gunners toward trophies, but injuries and inconsistency have stopped him from truly settling. Last season, he managed just 15 Premier League appearances. By the end of the campaign, Arteta was clearly looking elsewhere, preferring youngsters like Miles Lewis-Skelly or new signing Ricardo Calafiori at left back. So now the writing's on the wall. Zinchenko wants regular football. Arsenal need to balance the books after a big summer, and Mourinho's Fenerbahce are ready to give him that stage. The only question left is this: should Arsenal cash in now, or will they regret losing Zinchenko's versatility with 4 competitions to fight for this season? Arsenal exit, exceptional defender, very likely to leave after Man United clash. Arsenal fans, there's big news coming out of the Emirates, and it's not about the win over Manchester United. While the Gunners celebrated a 1-0 victory at Old Trafford, one player was completely missing, and that absence might just mean his time at Arsenal is over. We're talking about Jakub Kiwior, the Polish defender, once called exceptional by Mikel Arteta, wasn't even on the bench against United, and according to reports, a move to Porto is now very likely. Here's the situation: Arsenal's squad depth is incredible right now. Even talents like Ethan Nwaneri, Jurrien Timber, Noni Madueke, Kai Havertz, Mikel Merino, Leandro Trossard, and Miles Lewis-Skelly were only on the bench. With Christian Mosquera arriving this summer, there's simply no room left for Kiwior, and it looks like he's decided enough is enough. Polish journalist Tomasz Włodarczyk reports that talks with Porto are progressing, and Kiwior wants to leave England after struggling to break past Gabriel Magalhaes and William Saliba. Now, there's been some back and forth. Andrea Berta initially wanted £26 million, which nearly scared Porto off, but they're not giving up, and Arsenal won't want to sell him for less than the £20 million they paid Spezia back in 2023. If the deal goes through, it could be a win-win. Kiwior gets regular football in Portugal, and Arsenal get a financial boost. Money that could go straight into the pursuit of Rodrigo from Real Madrid, who remains firmly on Arteta's radar. So here's the big question: should Arsenal let an exceptional talent like Kiwior go now, or will we regret it later with 4 competitions to fight for this season? Arteta confirms summer signing already injured. Arsenal fans, the new Premier League season is underway, and it couldn't have started better. A massive 1-0 win away at Old Trafford against Manchester United, with Ricardo Calafiori grabbing the winner from a Nicolas Jover special set piece. The Gunners stood firm, took all 3 points, and set the tone for the campaign. But while we celebrate, there's already some concerning news about one of our new summer signings. Mikel Arteta has confirmed that Christian Norgard, brought in from Brentford to replace Jorginho and add valuable experience in midfield, has picked up a little issue. Norgard wasn't even on the bench against United, and Arteta revealed afterwards that the Dane had a small problem that Arsenal's medical staff are now monitoring. Football London have even reported he didn't train all week, which explains why his absence wasn't a late surprise inside the club. Now, the exact nature of the injury hasn't been revealed, but the hope is that it's nothing serious. With no midweek fixtures yet, Arsenal have a little breathing room before facing Leeds next weekend. But looking ahead, Arteta will want Norgard fit and available, especially with that huge trip to Liverpool at the end of August. The big question is this: will Norgard be back quickly to play his part in Arsenal's title push, or could this little issue turn into something more worrying? And that wraps up today's biggest Arsenal news. If you enjoyed the update and want to stay on top of everything happening with the Gunners, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Come on, Arsenal!